This year's theme is Interrogating Consequential Education Research in Pursuit of Truth. As I sit and reflect in this moment, just 6 weeks as president of the American Educational Research Association, I have co-written 2 statements about gun access and violence in the United States. One fueled by racism and hate in Buffalo, New York, and the other one in Uvalde, Texas, where 19 young people and 2 teachers were murdered. Indeed, as policymakers advance discourses about school safety, for instance, I believe as educational researchers, we must be leaders in building consequential research that has the potential to improve the human condition. As we build and share knowledge among ourselves as researchers for public use, I hope this year will be seen as the year of the literature review. So in your focal area of study, what research has been consequential? From where does this research develop over and evolve over time? In other words, what's the genealogy of this research? How has the consequential research been taken up and carried out in the public as people make sense of and construct truth? Moreover, what is truth and who decides? And from what evidence, if any, do people construct their positions about truth as they make decisions concerning education? Educational research is too often absent, it's too often underrepresented, it is too often misinterpreted and under-nuanced and decontextualized in broader societal and public conversations about educational issues in pursuit of truth. From what research and evidence do people, for instance, consult when making decisions about banning and censoring books and curriculum materials? How do people interpret educational research when making policy judgments about critical race theory and its potential effects? From what data repositories do people engage in making a case for what history is and is not taught in schools? Education research should be positioned as a necessary site in deliberations and practices, not as an afterthought, especially when we think about what happens in schools. Instead of being reactive to educational problems or to social movements designed to maintain an inequitable status quo, education research can, and I would argue should be, at the center of co-constructing with communities agendas of consequence that have a real bearing on disrupting ableism and racism and sexism and homophobia and xenophobia and other forms of discrimination. So, colleagues, I hope you will develop carefully detailed systematic and analytic literature reviews as you prepare for this conference. I hope you will critically examine and analyze existing consequential education research and scholarship over the years, drawing from diverse conceptual and theoretical tools to explain and make sense of the literature. These reviews should identify themes and patterns that we might revisit with an intentional focus on equity, justice, and opportunity structure. I hope we will identify essential sites for empirical research and engage dialogically, that is, with communities in the design and in the carrying out of studies. I hope we will identify, critique, and utilize multiple modes for communicating findings of consequential research. This means education researchers are invited to examine and critique traditional modalities and repositories while recommending and utilizing alternative modes. Examples of alternative modes of research dissemination might include blog posts or poetry or data-rich opinion essays or social media commentary or media music or short films or YouTube clips or even newspaper articles. I invite colleagues at all career stages, that is, from graduate students to those more settled in their career lines, to push traditional modes of sharing findings, themes, and insights from research in pursuit of truth with consequences. I invite journal editors in education and beyond to engage as editors in the annual meeting, to propose sessions that might culminate in special issues about consequential research and truth. If this theme is seriously embraced by scholars, stakeholders, gatekeepers, and institutions, we can chart a course forward that makes a difference in our fight for justice and equity in education and society.